Hello. So I just wanted to touch base a little bit about some of the material this week. So we are talking about public health advocacy, and the materials this week will really be the foundation to inform your assignment number 3, which is to create an advocacy video or a narrated PowerPoint or a Prezi or kind of whatever medium kind of best suits your skills and your message. And so really the materials this week are, if you note, a little bit outdated in date, but I think they really provide a good theoretical framework and grounding for, what kind of approach public health advocacy takes and some of the foundational materials about that. The medium and the message really depend on, and the method, I guess, really depend on, what is appropriate to the audience and what is the problem and what is the desired solution. So public health advocacy really takes on an upstream approach. It really recognizes the individual problems that are embedded within the social determinants of health, and those individual problems are often reflective of social conditions, so that broader scope. And it really looks at, the societal breadth of public health problems and how, people can identify within those problems. So, what is public health advocacy? It's really activities that, contribute to health promoting systemic change. And so typically they tend to influence policy processes. And, there are many definitions of public health advocacy. But, they tend to include this idea of collective action to affect systemic change. The change is often an upstream change, focused on laws or regulations, policies, practices, or standards. And so, who the message is delivered to really depends. Target audiences can be various stakeholders, so decision makers, policymakers, program managers, and users. And so, Wallace and Dorfman, in your reading, some of the readings this week, Dorfman shows up a few times, and you'll watch one of the videos, they really divide up those targets for change or target audiences into 3 groups. So the primary group are groups, organizations, people with power to create that change. So in week 5, we looked at the Nutcracker effect framework for creating health equity change. And so this would be the people who are on the top of the Nutcracker framework from week 5. The secondary group that Wallach and Dorfman talk about are individuals can be mobilized, so community action to apply pressure on those with power. So think about the bottom of the Nutcracker effect. And then the third audience is the general population, and often there's kind of an educational approach to that. So, advocacy is a combination of collaborative work, analysis, and really targeted messaging. And how you frame your issue is the most important piece, and hopefully that is a big takeaway from the materials this week and really helps you reflect on your materials for assignment number 3. So it really relies on knowledge of organizational and behavioral change, communication strategies, and social theories, and sometimes those are a bit outside of our wheelhouse as public health professionals. And so starting to think about understanding how some of these issues do exist within society and culture in a bigger context. So when you're putting together your advocacy video this week, I want you to ask, what is the problem? What is the desired solution? And who are the targets for change? Are you identifying the people on the top of the Nutcracker, on the bottom? Is it just an educational approach? And those 3 pieces should really clearly link together. So think about them like a triangle, that they're all going to relate to one another. And the spin for the assignment number 3 video is not just public health advocacy, but really thinking about health activism. So Leverick talks about health activism kind of as a challenge to the existing order. And so, whether there was health inequities or social injustices, it's a range of tactics that really try to reduce the power imbalance. So, what is the context that has created that power imbalance? What is the function, structure, or purpose? And how can you start to, address these social injustices and health inequities that really go, beyond routine or conventional things? So think about not only public health advocacy, but this idea of how can you embed some sort of health activism? How can you have a message of health equity and social justice embedded within your assignment number 3? So thinking about what's the problem, what's the desired solution, who is the targets for change, and then what are some of the underlying justice or equity issues that you may be addressing with this message. Great. If you have any more questions, feel free to send me an email, and let's keep going with the course.